Before we leave today, I want to make sure you have a plan. If it's a coordinate geometry proof, how am I going to do it? I don't want you to make up the plan on Tuesday morning. So here's what I'm talking about. If, for instance, you graph a figure and the problem says, show it's a parallelogram, what's your move? What's your move? All right, I don't want you to think of the move on Tuesday morning. I want you to think of it beforehand, because my fear is you're not going to put enough information in, and it won't be a parallelogram yet. So what would be your move to show this figure you've just graphed as a parallelogram? What are different ways, too? There's not just one way. Laisha, how are you going to go again? Opposite sides parallel. I could do that. And what formula would I need for that? Slopes. That's not the only way. What if you're not feeling slopes or you forget the formula? What's another way I could do it? Nick?
You could find opposite sides congruent.
Yeah, maybe you're a distance formula person. You could do opposite sides congruent. And I'm even going to throw these two in as well. What do you know about the diagonals of a parallelogram? Diagonals bisect each other. Anybody know how you do that? Show they have both diagonals have the same midpoint. And because I wasn't here when we did quadrilaterals, I also want to remind you that this is also a possibility that makes it into a parallelogram. I don't know, maybe you refer to it as the special case. That's not a parallelogram, right? We're all in agreement? That's not a parallelogram. But those congruent sides, if I can prove them, that is a parallelogram. All right, so one pair is both would make it into a parallelogram. Am I concerned about a parallelogram? No. Here's what I'm concerned about. Now we start talking about the special parallelograms. What's your move if it says prove it's a rhombus? Again, my fear is you're not going to do enough. It's not going to be a rhombus yet. What would be your go-to? So we could talk about it. Will?
All sides congruent.
Yeah, that's hopefully what I would think you would pick. All sides congruent. My fear is, though, some of you may go perpendicular diagonals only. And that's not good enough. That's not a rhombus. It could be it could be a kite. What makes it into a rhombus? What else do you have to do before you prove the diagonals are perpendicular? Prove it's a parallelogram. There you go. A parallelogram with perpendicular diagonals. The perpendicular diagonals alone won't do it. All right, keep going down the ladder here. Rectangle. What's your go-to there? We haven't done a rectangle one, so what would be your go-to? How do I show this figure in front of me on a graph next Tuesday as a rectangle? Will?
Opposite sides congruent, and then there's a right angle.
So you're saying prove it's a parallelogram, right? With a? Good. One right angle alone won't cut it. Congruent diagonals won't cut it. You have to show it's a parallelogram first. Is there a way to say it's a rectangle without mentioning parallelogram? Yes. Anybody know how? All right angles. All four right angles. Yep. So all four negative reciprocals. Good. And then we've done one. Whew, but it's nasty. They go right to the queen here, the square. How do you do a square? Because you know that's a lot of information that needs to be shown. But what's enough? What's enough information to say that is definitely a square? Dylan.
All right angles.
Okay, stop. So you're saying, say it's a rectangle, right? Based on what we did up here. With what? Okay, even less, but you could do that. All sides congruent or two consecutive sides congruent. That's all I would need. If you want to do all four, it's still correct. Could I go another route? Yes, I could say it's a rhombus instead, but with what? A right angle. All right? So that's how I get a square. And I'm going to throw this last one in here. Just, hey, who knows, right? We have no idea what's going to be on here. Isosceles trapezoid. Oh. Oh. So I've graphed this figure. How are you going to show it's an isosceles trapezoid? Whew. Will? And then Nick?
The two sets of base angles are congruent.
But my problem is I don't think you're going to do that on a graph. Using slope, showing angles, unless they're right angles, which they're probably not. So I don't think there's any way you're going to show base angles. What was your deal, Nick?
Proof the base is parallel.
Okay, stop. Using slope. What happened there? Whoa. Okay. Using slope, prove those are parallel, then The sides that aren't parallel have to be congruent. Isosceles trapezoid. All right. Any last minute things you want to talk about? Topics? Anything at all? The rest of the time, yes, sorry, Max, go ahead.
The proofs where you have to prove some, like prove two lines not congruent.
Ooh, the indirect proofs. Yeah, remember those? Oh, yeah. Look, I have not seen one on a Regents exam at all, but I'm not going to tell you no either. All right, that's when we start out with the assumption, and at the end we do assumption led to contradiction. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, could it be on, because it's not something extra I do, like law signs or cosines, which won't be on there, but it could be something on there, yeah. All right, have I ever seen it? No. Could we gamble and say it's probably not? I'm not a gambler as far as your test grades go, but anything's fair game. All right, anything's fair game. But yes, indirect proof. You got a lot of proofs to deal with, right? Congruent triangles, similar triangles, quadrilaterals, indirect, coordinate. All right, who knows what's going to be on there? What's the big 6-pointer going to be? Anybody got any guesses? Coordinate, similar. Prove a pair of triangles to get another pair congruent. All right, good talk as usual. Great talk. All right, rest of the time, let's get an exam out. Start anywhere you want. We should be working on an exam. You guys got a slew of them. There's got to be at least 15 up on Classroom.
The diagonal is perpendicular, right? And then diagonal bisects the angle.
Let's go, guys. I want you guys to work today. Let's get it done.
Oh, Mr. President, can you check this proof? I got it.